Every so often, usually towards the end of a semester, I find myself burnout. I find myself not knowing what to do and where to turn. And in those moments, I turn towards what is comfortable, what is familiar. And to me, that is nature, getting outside, spending time with my pets and with Matthew, and just letting myself enjoy things. So this week, in this vlog, we're touching some grass. Hello friends, as you saw from my intro, we are touching grass this week, and that also includes reading nature-related books. So let me just give you my quick lineup, and then we'll actually just go ahead and get started. I just want to jump right in. So the first book that I'm going to be reading is A Walk in the Woods by Bryson. It's the quintessential Appalachian Trail book that came out, I think, in 2000 and has been very popular ever since. I remember reading some excerpts, a little bit of it, when I was like 12 or 13, and I think that's the first I ever heard of the Appalachian Trail, but we'll see how it goes. And then the next one that I have is one that I'm really excited about. This is a fiction book, which I think I'm going to sandwich in between the two nonfictions that I'm going to be reading this week. And that is Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaghy. This one I'm really excited about because I really loved Wild Dark Shore when I did a very similar video last year. So I'll link that either in the description or in the cards, or maybe both. She does like mysteries that involve nature and human nature. And this one is no different. Our main character, Inti, is a wolf conservationist, and she is reintroducing wolves back into Scotland. She is not Scottish herself. She is Australian, just like our author, I believe. She's reintroducing wolves that were hunted to extinction over hundreds of years back into Scotland. There's a lot of concern and antagonistic rhetoric towards these wolves in the area, so she has to deal with the public not being very happy about it. And I believe that a farmer is found dead. The wolves are obviously getting blamed, but she doesn't believe that it's them. But this also includes another mystery about her sister, I believe. She has a twin sister, and her sister used to be the really strong one in their twin relationship, and something happened to make that dynamic change. So I think we're going to learn a little bit more about that as well. I did cry at the end of Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaghy, so I have hope that this will be just as incredible. I think it probably will be, but she just does really well with descriptions of nature. She's really great at writing about human nature as well. And then the third one I'm also very excited about is A Walk in the Park, not to be confused with A Walk in the Woods. And this is a book that is a nonfiction memoir. This one is much more recent. I think it was published this year, and it tells a story of these two men that decided to hike down into the Grand Canyon. And I think they're filmmakers. I'm not quite sure, but I'll let you know more once I get into that. But it's like their misadventure in Grand Canyon National Park, which is one of the most underestimated and dangerous areas. So I think it has to do with them going on an adventure down into the depths of the Grand Canyon. But we're just going to go ahead and get started because I'm ready to touch some grass, to get back to nature, enjoy hiking and being outside like I have my whole life. This is just a kickoff into what I hope to make good, healthy habits of getting back to my roots with hiking and being outside. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I have made it to chapter 6 of A Walk in the Woods. I also put on Cotswolds walking ambiance for some ambiance, obviously. I'm about 20% of the way in, and I am enjoying it immensely. I remember really liking it years and years ago. It was probably, I don't want to say how many years at this point because it's going to make me sound old. It's funny. I do want to say, if you're going into this, some of the humor is a little bit crass. So if you're sensitive to that, then I would just go into that knowing it a bit. It's not like ridiculous. It's 90s, 2000s funny, but not in like a horrible way.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
I've made it to chapter 6, page 71. And yes, I am still planning on hiking tomorrow. I just haven't yet. I kind of hope I don't finish this before I even go on a hike, but it's getting me in the mood to do some hiking, and it's making me hope that sometime in the future that I will still do a through hike of the Appalachian Trail. We'll see. It's gonna happen at some point. I watched this woman named Wendy. Her name is Wendy Outdoors on YouTube, and she's just so inspiring because I think she's in her late 70s, and she goes on these hiking trips and like backpacking trips. I don't know if she does full on backpacking, but she like camps and hikes on her own. She lives in like the Vancouver Island area of Canada. So like even if I don't get to do my hike until later in life, it is what it is. I'm still going to get in shape with my hiking and enjoy it and try to just get in touch with nature, really decompress and kind of balance myself like I used to. Because that's always been a way that I've been able to balance myself, is literally just unplugging and getting into nature. And I don't feel like bringing you guys along will hinder that, because I don't use my phone to do any of my, unless it's like B-roll that I do at home really quickly, I don't use my phone to film, so it's not like I'm connected to the internet when I'm filming. So I still feel like if I'm filming, I'm just trying to share this with people, and it's not going to picture the full beauty of wherever I'm walking or hiking, but it gives you an idea of it. I still feel like it's unplugging, and I'm really enjoying this. I thought I was in a reading slump. I think I just needed to read a nonfiction nature book that was about hiking the Appalachian Trail, which is right up my alley. So I'm going to continue reading and see how far we get before I end up doing an actual hike or walk. Hopefully not too far, but we'll see. It's the next day. I am going to be taking Sophie and myself on a little bit of a walk or hike, I guess, or later. But I wanted to update you on a walk in the woods, because things have quickly changed with this book. I actually had some notes that I'm still going to talk about, but things have taken a turn as far as my enjoyment of this book goes. What I was going to talk to you about is that like Bill Bryson's writing really makes you feel like you're transported onto the Appalachian Trail. And he has some really interesting statistics that are kind of depressing about logging and the Forest Service, and, you know, the penchant for the Forest Service to not protect as much as it should, which I want to see some statistics on that, because he doesn't actually give any studies or anything. But I've come across several extremely fat phobic and misogynistic things. They have this woman on the trail in the beginning, and she is clearly likely autistic, and they kind of ditch her and treat her like crap and make fun of her. Every woman that's not like acquiescing to him, he gives like a weird nickname. Like there was a waitress that didn't immediately smile at him, and he called her Betty Sluts. I'm like, okay. There's a point where his friend Steven wants to hook up with this woman at the laundromat. Her name is Beulah. Not real smart, but real nice, with cute little dimples just here. And she has a terrific body. Oh yes? Bill says, oh yes. Of course, it's buried under 220 pounds of wobbling fat. Fortunately, I don't mind size in a woman, as long as you don't have to remove a wall or anything to get her out of the house. First of all, his friend Steven is not a small man. So what are you saying? And that's just what he is saying. That's not even talking about all the stuff that Bill Bryson has said, like with his whole chest in the book, in his own narrative. Every woman he either describes as like fat or stupid, or, small spoiler, though I don't think you should read this book. I'm going to finish it just so I can rate it low, because I don't rate books that I don't finish. And I'm already halfway through it. Spoiler alert, they skip most of the South just because he doesn't want to be in the South, because he's being weird about the South and thinks people there are dumb. Okay. There are people that are supportive of the Confederacy and shit, but there's a lot of people who are left-leaning who don't have any other choice but to live in the South, and they want to stay and make their area better, and it's not their fault that everything is gerrymandered to shit and they can't control all of that stuff. So you automatically lump every single person in the South into one group. And he talks crap about Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, which I get. I understand it's very commercialized. Do you not have that in England too? Because I'm pretty sure you do. I don't know. This man bothers me, and it's not like he's like the tiniest, most in shape spring chicken. So why is it okay for you to have a little bit more pudge? But anytime a woman doesn't smile at you or isn't thin, she's not worthy of being a human. Like, he talks down on everyone else on the trail. It's just, I don't know. I'm going to finish it. I'm going to give you my full thoughts on it, but I'm kind of hate reading it at this point. So, but that'll just fuel my walk for later, because I'm sure he would call Ohio like backwards, and make fun of me for being fat and all of that. So I don't know why this is lauded as like incredible when it's just like really, really, really fat phobic, misogynistic. He's not actually like invested in the trail, and you don't actually hear that much about his actual goings on the trail itself. It's like every town he goes in, he talks about. They go to like every town. I've watched entire sagas of actual people hiking the Appalachian Trail. It's not like this. Also, he talked about this one man who lost 50 pounds hiking the trail. He started at 350 pounds and hiked and lost 50 pounds, and then basically said something like, that wasn't that much. I expected him to lose more. And I'm like, who the fuck are you? Anyway, I'm gonna finish hate reading this, and then I will let you know my final thoughts on it, and then maybe we'll go hiking. It's a pretty quick read. He's not exactly incredible at prose, so it's pretty simple and quick. Alright, so I look insane right now, and I don't know how long Sophie's going to let me talk. She's in the back with the air blasting on her. We're going to head to the trail, and I will either update you about a walk in the woods, because I did finish it. I'll either update you real time on the trail. Like if we take a break, there's a pond there that I think that we might hang out at for a little bit. If Sophie doesn't let me, then I'll come home and I'll do a voiceover over the footage of me on the trail. So I'm gonna go, because I don't want Sophie just sitting in the car here. She doesn't like being in her kennel in the car, so you probably can't see her at all. But we're gonna go hike the trail for a little bit. It's just a really short one to get us started. I want to start doing it regularly, but we're just gonna do a short walk, and I will update you guys when I can. She pooped twice. We're not even off the trailhead. So I'm only going to take a minute or so to tell you about this book, because I want to keep this video positive, and I want to be able to show you a little bit of my walk without me ranting about a book. So yeah, I started out this book really excited about learning about his time on the Appalachian Trail and how it went and the things that he did and what he learned. And what I came across was that he didn't really learn much. It was, like I was talking about before, very misogynistic, looked down a lot on quote-unquote country people. And for a British man coming into the US and complaining about every single little thing and just like being amazed about non-walkable cities and all of that, it was just really frustrating. And I don't think that this book needed to be written, and I don't think that anyone should read it. I don't really have many other sentiments other than what I've told you already, but yeah, I gave this 1 star, unfortunately. What'd you see, girlie? What's down there? Oh, what was that? Was it a frog? And we are back. So we had fun. Jinx is wanting to be fed 1.5 hours early. So if you hear her meowing, that's why. I apologize. My hair can finally go up in a bun, albeit a really bad one, so kind of don't pay attention to that. But you heard me in the voiceover talk about A Walk in the Woods. Not great. Gave it 1 star, and I will be unhauling that book. But we're going to be moving on to Once There Were Wolves, which I actually had this book a long time ago and never read it. And now I finally am going to, so I'm very, very excited about it. I picked this up again. I really, really, really liked Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaghy. So I don't know if I'm saying that right. McConaghy. I'm sorry, Charlotte. But she is really great at atmospheric reads. She's really great at mysteries without it being over the top and too thrillery, which I found very few thrillers that I've actually really enjoyed. So I don't think I'm going to have that problem with this book. It is a beautiful cover. I want to be wherever she is, which apparently is Scotland. And she is with a team of biologists, and she's there to reintroduce 14 gray wolves, and she wants to heal the dying landscape by doing that because they are, I believe, a keystone species. But she and her twin sister have a lot of trauma as well, so she wants both of them to heal. Animals or a person are killed. I think a person gets killed, and the wolves she knows are going to be to blame, even though they likely did not do it. She has to deduce who or what killed this person so that the wolves are not blamed and their fragile reintroduction to the ecosystem is not ruined. I'm probably not doing it justice. I already know from Wild Dark Shore that I love her writing. It's very atmospheric. You're transported to wherever she is. And this one is the moors of Scotland, I think. So I'm very, very excited about that. All right, so it is now Wednesday, and I have reached chapter 5, page 42 of Once There Were Wolves. And I can already tell this is going to be probably just as breathtaking and enjoyable as Wild Dark Shore was for me. I don't know if this was her debut or Migrations might have been, but Charlotte McConaghy, I've noticed, especially going into the second book that I've read from her, she has a way of trusting her reader that really keeps you engrossed in the book. It doesn't over-explain. She doesn't give you these really simple concepts and then try to over-explain them to you. She uses what we as human beings going through life understand as human nature, trust that we will be able to parse out what is going to happen, or at least lets us form our own opinions and thoughts, and then lets us know what is going to happen. So in this book, our main character, Inti, she is a twin. I think they're identical. And, I've never known twins very closely. Some people that I went to high school with that were twins, but you hear just how deep the bond is between twins, and that's a really interesting part of this book. It's not super integral to what I'm reading yet, but we have had glimpses of her trying to take care of her sister, who was always the strong one, and now she has to be the strong twin because something that we don't know exactly what it is yet, something has happened that makes her sister need a lot of assistance. And we're getting glimpses of their childhood and just the dichotomy between their mom and dad. They were separated. He's very much a nature lover, forest dwelling type of man. And their mom is no nonsense and I think she's a lawyer that protects especially women who have been abused. So I think it's really interesting because there's this dynamic when their mom is talking about their dad and how she thinks he's basically weak and he's caring too much about trees. And of course, this is in the past. So, but she's not hiding that at all from her young children in these flashbacks. And I find that interesting. I'm not a parent, so I don't presume to know what you should teach your kids when, or what you should expose them to when, but they're exposed to some horrible things pretty young, both learning about how the environment has been affected by human beings and by climate change and the horrible things that humans can do to each other. So
it's really interesting. I think that they're not necessarily flashbacks. It's, I believe, like whole chapters of their experience as children. And I assume that it's going to coalesce into something important to the story later on. I won't give that away, obviously, but overall, I am definitely transported to Scotland. And it's really interesting to see Scotland through the eyes of somebody who's not from there, because our main character is Australian. I believe Charlotte McConaghy is Australian. So I find it just really interesting. I don't know if anyone who watches my videos is an Aldi lover, but Aldi has this like bean salad thing that they have in these little containers that are like $2.50 each. And I always end up doctoring it, but like the base of it's really good. So I decided I'm going to make my own. It's kind of like a Cowboy Caviar type thing, but I'm going to zhuzh it up a little bit and make it my own. So let's do that. And then I will update you on Once There Were Wolves, because I have gotten farther into it. So let's make some Cowboy Caviar.
Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of a voiceover if you're curious on how to make this. I will put the timestamp on the screen if you're not interested or you're not planning on making this at all. So it will be right here. First, I cut some onions. I only did a half of an onion, put it in the bowl. And anytime I do an onion, I have to do a pepper, mostly just because Sophie wants her pepper tax. She loves bell pepper, and she knows that when I cut an onion, I'm likely going to cut a bell pepper too. You'll see in a second. Yep, there's a Sophie tax. I rinsed some beans after I finished cutting up these peppers. And you'll see very quickly that I did not get a big enough bowl, which worked out because Matt doesn't like corn, and I'm planning on putting corn into one of these bowls of Cowboy Caviar. So just mix it up, and then I started adding some seasoning: salt, pepper, cumin, tahini. This is my sad replacement for chili crisp because the store was out. And just whatever type of seasoning you're looking for. This is some chili garlic tapatio. Cholula. This is some chili garlic Cholula. Just make sure you taste it as you go, and make sure you put some sort of acid in there. I put lime juice. You can make it a little bit sweeter if you want to. Some people do that, but just mixed it up. And these are best if you let them sit overnight. Any dip or salsa or bean salad like this is better once the flavors have time to kind of cooperate and blend in with each other. So there you have it. That is my version of Cowboy Caviar. I did not try it yet, but I will try it later in the vlog once it has been in the fridge for a while.
I apologize if you can hear my neighbor mowing, but I just hit a reveal, which I assume is going to be a pretty big reveal in Once There Were Wolves. And I am about a little bit under halfway through. I think I'm about 40% according to Storygraph. So let's talk about this book. And it's getting louder. I'm so sorry. You're just gonna have to, if you can hear it, I'm so sorry. I gotta talk about this. It's like they know when I'm filming. I swear he mows his lawn like 3 times a week. It's really strange. Anyway, Inti, I am really enjoying as a main character. She is complex. She has a lot of complex emotions, and she has this interesting like synesthesia thing going on that I'll let you read to understand more of, but it adds some interesting aspects to her character and her deep empathy for other living beings. I don't think that's why she is so empathetic, but I think it adds to it, or maybe it's caused by her deep empathy, but she is very complex. She's very interesting, and I really love her as a main character, but I can't keep defending the stupid decisions she's making. There's so many different, like, even little ones and big ones that she's making, including who she's spending her time with. And girl, if I was your friend, I'd be yelling at you right now, because what are we doing? That's all I can say about it at this point. It is Charlotte McConaghy. I knew I was gonna love it. It's a pretty quick read. The chapters are short, though I don't want this to end. I think I'm going to end up finishing this today because I just want to know what is going to happen and how things are going to conclude, because I don't see how they could have a good conclusion right now. I think we're probably going to take Sophie on a WALK later. There's not going to be any hiking today, though it would be a gorgeous day for it. I think Sophie's still a little bit tired out. She's been really napping all day, whether I've been editing, whether she's on my legs as we're laying on the couch. She's just having kind of a slow day today, and I am too. Order of business today, finish this, continue editing this video, and possibly film my Pride reading guide video, because I have a ton of books that I want to talk about, but I know that's going to be such a long video. Excited to film it, but also not excited at the same time, because it's going to be really involved, and I hope people will like it. Pretty small creator, but I read a lot of queer books. I am queer myself. I don't know every intersection, obviously, of the queer community, especially being BIPOC or trans, but I do think I have some good suggestions. So I hope that you'll watch that video after this one, because it'll be up soon, hopefully at the very beginning of June. So I'm gonna finish this, and I will let you guys know my final thoughts once I'm done.
1 hour later.
All right, so I am very close to the ending of Once There Were Wolves, and Charlotte McConaghy is known to either make me cry or make me feel some sort of deep emotion. So I'm going to record just to see how this ends, because I have a feeling it's going to be explosive. Feel like I have collected my thoughts enough to give you my review of Once There Were Wolves. I surprisingly only tabbed one thing in this book, and it is something that the author says at the beginning of a chapter. It says, "There are languages without words, and violence is one of them." It's in regards to something that happens in the book, but I just think in general that is very accurate. That is the way that a lot of people communicate, and it's very, very sad. I wasn't sure how Charlotte McConaghy was going to end this book, but the ending ended up being beautiful, of course. I'm not going to keep repeating the same things that I already said, so just know that, yes, it is beautiful. The writing is incredible. It's very atmospheric, like I thought it would be, and Charlotte McConaghy does mystery and human connection and the connection that humans have with nature and other animals very well. It was incredible. I still think I love Wild Dark Shore more. I hate to compare two books by an author to each other, but
when I was thinking about if I was going to give this a 5-star, if I hadn't read anything else by her, I would say yes, but I think I'm going to give it a 4.75. It's so close to being 5 stars, so close to being one of my favorite books of the year, but I didn't feel quite as connected to our characters as I did in Wild Dark Shore. I just think since she wrote this book, she has grown even more as an author and was able to just make a couple little tweaks that just made Wild Dark Shore one of the most perfect books I've read. And this is very, very, very good, and I definitely think you should read it. Especially if you've loved Charlotte McConaghy before and you haven't read this, read it. It is incredible. It was published earlier than Wild Dark Shore. I think Migrations was her first mainstream adult novel. It looks on Storygraph like she wrote a bunch of like YA stuff and maybe some other non-YA stuff, but she really started finding her groove once she wrote Migrations, and then this one, which is Once There Were Wolves, and then Wild Dark Shore is her newest one. I am going to read Migrations. It might not be until closer to winter because it is a very wintry book. I think it's set either in the Arctic Circle or off the coast of Antarctica. Again, I'm not sure, but she is quickly becoming one of my absolute favorite authors, and I think that her books tend to be a little short. This one was, with the acknowledgements, 258 pages. So what I do love about it is she could have made it much longer and she didn't, and I think that the book was better for it. Not saying that I wouldn't have read it if it was 400 and 500 pages, but she knows how to tell an incredible, beautiful, haunting story in under 300 pages, which I feel like is something that not every author can do. And I am definitely looking forward to reading more Charlotte McConaghy. We're going on to the next book, which is another nonfiction. Hopefully this one is much better than A Walk in the Woods, because we're going to take a walk in the park next. This is about a 750-mile hike. Did I bring the book with me? I did. So, Walk in the Park by Kevin Fedarko. He quit his job to pursue the ill-advised ambition of becoming a whitewater guide in the Colorado River. And he was approached by his best friend who I think is a photographer for National Geographic. Yes. So he had this ridiculous idea, his name's Pete, to ask Kevin to go with him on this 750-mile hike that is one of the hardest hikes. It's through the Grand Canyon. It's one of the long, I don't know, I guess you would call it a through hike. I don't know if the term through hike is reserved for the AT, the PCT, and the CDT, but either way, they are going to go on a hike that lasts 750 miles. It's a crazy harebrained idea. They are very unprepared. This is a true story, so I'm really excited to read this. And it's the longest book of the vlog so far, which is good because I'm in a good spot. Let's see. Oh, wow. The reader's guide is very long. So not counting the reader's guide, up to the epilogue, it's 433 pages. So it's not crazy. It's not like it's 500 pages, but I'm ready for kind of a longer book. I am going to take Sophie on a you-know-what. I'm not going to film it because you already saw me walk yesterday, so just know that we are going on that, and trust me that we did it. I don't want to overdo all the nature elements of this vlog, even though that's what this vlog is about. But I'll probably be going on at least one more hike, possibly by myself next time. So I'll save the B-roll of that for you guys to view. So I am literally only a prologue and a chapter in to this book, but I just want to let you know, do not read this book unless you're okay with a little bit of body horror. It's pretty gross. I think the author sets up the prologue the way he did and kind of shocks you at the beginning just so you know what you're getting into with this book, which I'm okay with. This isn't going to be true body horror, I hope. Hopefully there's no bugs involved. Just to let you know, if weird body things gross you out, maybe don't read this. I am very intrigued, and already I really love his writing style and his narrative style. So I'll let you know how it goes the further I get in, but I've already uttered a what? And if you read this, you'll understand. Good morning. We have already made it to Friday, and I have a couple of updates for you. I did get to chapter 7 in A Walk in the Park, and this has been sitting overnight. So first I'm going to try this. I did add some more seasoning because sometimes you do have to do that overnight. This is how it looks, and if you don't like cold beans, then you probably won't like this, but This is a nice protein-filled, fiber-filled, flavorful snack that I made. And I didn't have to, I think the cans were like $1 each. So I have way more than I would have gotten in like the little Aldi container. So I'm really happy with that. So far, so good as far as a walk in the park goes. I have noticed a couple of things that bother me, but it is still early in the book and it's not nearly as egregious as Bill Bryson. He starts out the book, like I mentioned in that previous clip. It feels a little bit like body horror in the prologue, but he starts out his book basically talking about how he fell in love with the Grand Canyon and how he came to be where he is. I'm still not to the point where he completely decided to go on the hike, but we learn a lot about how the Grand Canyon was quote unquote discovered, which I did note that I appreciated. He mentioned, let's see, in the footnote, he talks about how the story of Tio, which is recounted in slightly different form among the Navajo, belongs to a larger repertoire of tribal stories whose antiquity and splendor attest to human history in the canyon that radically predates the rival whites, who saw themselves as discovering the land for the first time. And as a white man, I really appreciate him bringing that up, because I was really hoping he wasn't going to be like, you know, we discovered blah, 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 when there were people in there long ago. It's just that white people hadn't discovered the canyon before, I think it was like 1500 something. The Spaniards saw it and went, nope. Really didn't get explored by many people who settled for a couple hundred years after they knew of its existence. I'm going to eat this for breakfast, not all of it, obviously, and I'll check back with you. No matter what I do, I cannot stop myself from looking insane, and I cannot stop these glasses from going crooked. I really, really need new glasses, and I'm just gonna have to wait. But I decided I'm gonna do some errands before I go anywhere, and I think I decided I'm gonna go to the lake that's kind of near me, because I don't feel like hiking today, but I do still feel like getting out into nature. So I'm just gonna go sit at the lake. They do have a trail around the lake, I believe, so I might walk around that, but I just don't feel like getting eaten alive by mosquitoes right now, and my allergies are really bad today. So I'll probably go walk around for a bit. But I did bring my coffee and my water and some books to donate and send back to Thrift Books, because they will do a buyback. It's like they give you not much for each book, but if it's books I was going to donate anyway. So those are the books that I am sending back to Thrift Books, and then everything else I'm donating either to like a little free library, or they have book donation boxes some places. So we'll see where I get to. It is 12:30, so it's probably good that I'm waiting till it's not the sunniest part of the day, because though it is not super hot today, it is very, very sunny. There's barely a cloud in the sky, and I have not gotten a natural tan all winter. I'm Italian, so I tend to tan, but those first couple times I'm in the sun after the winter is over, I'm still a little pasty. Probably good to go ahead and do my errands first. And I did bring the book that I'm reading. I want to read a good chunk of it today, and we'll just hang out and you can come with me. I'm rambling. I'm gonna do errands, and then we're gonna go to the lake. So I went to go to UPS to drop something off, and the UPS sign is still there, but it's completely empty, and they have like a QR code to scan to do a tour if you want to lease it. So gonna have to find a different UPS store, but it's still really bright out, so I got one thing done. I sent something through the post office, so got at least one thing done on my to-do list. It is an absolutely beautiful day here. I have my book I have my beverage, spicy Italian Gardettos. We're gonna enjoy some reading. There's a dog. There's so many dogs. There's another one right over there that you can't see. Oh my god. I think that's a fire department dog. He's got a little yellow vest on. Can you see him? I'm just gonna end up getting distracted by puppies. Worth it. So I DNF'd this book. I actually filmed something when I was at the lake. I'm just in the parking lot right now. And it was more of a rant than an explanation, but I want to give an explanation why I think that this book is not worth reading. Especially because I went into it thinking that it was possibly gonna be okay. First of all, something I noticed really early on is there's very little, especially in like the first, I only got to 25%. There's very little in the first 25% of the book, at least, about any sort of woman. Every time a person was mentioned, it was a man, unless it was like an unnamed woman who fell off a cliff or something. He didn't even name her. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe he just didn't happen upon people who weren't men early on in his journey. And this is even before he ever went on trail. I didn't get to the part where he was actually on the trail. He and his friend went to an Ivy League, and he had a friend that was a tech bro that was telling them what to do when they decided to get this harebrained idea to go on the trail, which that's a red flag right there. If you're spending time around tech bros, even if you're not one, like a San Francisco tech bro, I want nothing to do with you, and I don't really want to read your book. So no women or any sort of femme-presenting person whatsoever, at least in the first 25% of the book. There's countless people, mostly other men, which means that this man, who apparently doesn't know a woman, should be able to listen to them, because, you know, men listen to other men, have told him that this was a stupid idea. He needed to be better prepared. He couldn't do it off the couch. He had to have hiking experience. He had never done a through hike. And it's not like the Appalachian Trail, where you can go to towns and take a rest or like leave earlier. Then he put other people in danger. Even in his job before he ever thought of doing this trail, he worked on the boats that go through the canyon on the Colorado River, and he constantly screwed up like his first summer there, and he was delegated to like the poop boat where they literally had their privies and stuff that they kept, because he was so thoughtless and endangered people and endangered other people's property. And he still kept his job the whole summer. I'm like, how? And he went back, he kept coming back. Anyway, I wish I had the audacity of a white man in his 40s, because I would get whatever done. And this is the last straw for me. He was hanging on by a thread. He had a quote from Bill Bryson in the last chapter that I ended up reading, like the beginning of the last chapter. He does quotes in every chapter. It was a Bill Bryson quote, and I'm pretty sure it was from A Walk in the Woods. I'm like, you read that book and you liked it enough to put something that Bill Bryson quoted in it in your book, and you didn't see a problem with it? That doesn't seem like allyship to me at all. So not something that I'm interested in continuing. I will be unhauling this book, not wasting any more of my time on it. It got so boring. It was kind of interesting at the beginning. He was talking about how like people discovered the Grand Canyon, and he did mention, like, I do have to give it to him that he mentioned like that indigenous people knew where it was and like knew of it and had hiked in it probably many times way before any white person got there. But then still went on for 4 chapters about the history of white men walking the trail. I'm like, I just don't get it. You're contradicting yourself. I have no desire to continue it, and it has really high ratings on Storygraph, and I don't know why. It only has like 2,000 ratings, so maybe people didn't bother to read it if they didn't like it. There's only like 8 1-star reviews. I'm not rating it a star rating because I didn't finish it. I'm gonna head home. I ended up getting really cold anyway, but it was a really nice time. If I had had another book with me, I likely would have stayed there and read some more. I don't know for sure if I am going to pick anything else up for this vlog. I will let you know the next time I see you, but I'm gonna head home. I'd hate to end it on a DNF, but we'll see. So I did decide on the drive home that I am gonna go ahead and end the vlog here. I had a really good time this week. I ended up finding another Charlotte McConaghy that I loved. It was just as good as I was hoping it would be. So I'm not even upset about my 1-star with A Walk in the Woods or my DNF. I still think I had a great week, especially because the core of this week was to get out and get into nature, and I did that a few different times this week. We're probably going to be going back to the lake or on a trail again this weekend. That's not going to be in this vlog. I might put it in the next one, which is also an exciting themed vlog, but it's a very different theme. This is just the beginning, like I said at the beginning of this vlog. It's the start of healthy habits. It's the start of reconnecting with nature, and I think I've got a good head start. So I hope you enjoyed this vlog. I hope you enjoyed getting back to nature with me and kind of getting grounded, because I do feel a lot more grounded than I did. I feel a little bit healed from my burnout. If you are able to, if you have the ability, please go touch grass today or this week. It really does wonders for your mental health. Like, I'm on SSRIs, yes, but I also hate that people are right when they say go get in touch with nature. For me, unfortunately, it does also help. I still need the SSRIs, otherwise I end up with a mentee bee. But let's all try and touch some more grass and enjoy some good books. As always, make sure to subscribe if you like my content. You can like and comment as well. Let me know how you reconnected with nature this week or what fun books you read this week. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!